billion in debt 2 years from now. When does it end, Mr. Speaker? So I encourage my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support this strongly bipartisan legislation. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time, and I move the previous question on the resolution.
Gentleman yields back. The question is on ordering the previous question on the resolution. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This one here. Pursuant to Clause 8 and Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on ordering the previous question will be followed by 5-minute votes on the adoption of House Resolution 466, if ordered, and adoption of House Resolution 467. This is a 15-minute vote.
When the debt limit agreement was signed in August, part of that agreement was that the House and Senate both had to vote on a proposed balanced budget amendment by the end of the year. They have started initial debate on that balanced budget amendment. We're going to open up our phone lines here during this 15-minute vote to get your thought. Do you support a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution? Here are the numbers. If you're a Democrat, it's 202-585-3885. Republicans, 202-585-3886. Independents and others, 202-585-3887. Make sure that when you call in, make sure you mute your television, and if you've called C-SPAN in the last 30 days, give others a chance to call in. 3 votes here. This first one is a procedural vote, a previous question vote on the rule for the balanced budget amendment, as Democrats are seeking to once again bring up a bill that has passed the Senate, the Chinese currency manipulation bill. And also coming up, we'll have a vote on the rule for the continuing resolution, the remaining spending bills, the so-called minibus that includes spending for agriculture, commerce, justice, science, transportation, and HUD, and then continues spending for the rest of through mid-December, and we'll get to that in just a bit. But first up, we want to get your thoughts on the balanced budget amendment. That amendment in particular, what that says is that it would require the U.S. government to operate under a balanced budget each year and not run any deficits unless 3/5 of the whole number of each chamber votes to incur a budget deficit. It would also require a 3/5 vote of the whole number of each chamber of commerce to increase the debt limit, like they did back in August. And again, that was part of the deal in August, was this vote on the balanced budget amendment. We have a call from Miami on our Democrats line. Go ahead.
Hi. I feel that this whole balanced budget amendment, and it's just a bill that is more distracting than ever. It just so appears that there's something being done, and that Republicans that are actually putting forth bills and actually doing something. But it's really just a bill just to throw it out there, just so it can get defeated. Just to waste time, so just to appear that they're actually doing something.
Also in Florida, in Bradenton, Richard on our Republican line. Hi there.
Hi, how you doing? I'd like to support the balanced budget amendment.
Richard, do you have anything else to say?
I hope that they're able to agree and get something down. I'm not necessarily Republican all the way, but I think we can all kind of agree that there needs to be a balanced budget in some sort of way to keep track of it, and that's just common sense. And
Congressman Nugent from Florida was leading the debate for the Republicans today. In his column today in CQ, David Hawkins writes that, in his view, there are nowhere close to enough votes for the House passage of a balanced budget constitutional amendment. Even if all 242 Republicans vote for it, he says that would mean 4 dozen Democrats would have to go along to reach 290, the 2/3 majority required for changing the Constitution. Next up is here in Washington on our Independence line, Mario. Hi there. Washington, D.C., go ahead.
Hello?
You're on the air?
Yes, I'm not.
I'm sorry, wrong line. This is Teresa in Mystic Beach?
Mastic.
Mastic Beach.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I am definitely for a balanced budget amendment, and I talk to nearly all my friends, relatives, anybody I can. They all agree. We all have to have a budget for our homes. We see no reason that if the Congress cannot ever pass a budget, which the Senate never has in like the last 8 quarters or whatever, it's about time that we do something as a nation, as we the people need to do. We really do have to get this under control.
Hey, are you at all?
$1 trillion is crazy.
Are you at all concerned that it would, at times of war or national need, would handcuff the ability of Congress to fund emergency needs?
Well, I don't believe that there is not. If you read the Constitution in its whole purpose anyway, the number one reason we have a Constitution, we have a government, is to protect the people.
Teresa, thanks for your comment, your call. Here's Mario in Washington, Democratic line. Hi.
Hi. Yes, I'm calling in opposition to this amendment because, we have a Congress that I believe they can do the job. That's what the Congress is for, That's my feeling on this. The Congress should be able to do their work. It's their duty,
Stephen Dinan writes in the Washington Times about this balanced budget amendment. He says that after an intense internal debate, House Republicans decided to bring to the floor a, quote, clean, balanced budget constitutional amendment that is similar to the version almost passed in the 1990s, rather than a stricter version which many conservatives prefer, that would have written tighter spending limits into the Constitution and required a higher threshold for breaching the caps. To our Republican line next in Beverly, New Jersey, this is Frank.
Hey, great show, guys. Absolutely we need a balanced budget amendment because for some unknown reason, Washington, D.C. thinks that all the people in this country have bottomless pits for pockets for money. If you pay attention to this vote, which I'm watching on the TV, you will see that it's not the Republican side, it's the Democrat side that doesn't want to help the American people like me. And I'm not just a straight Republican voter. I'll vote for a Democrat if I deem he's okay, and I like him and I like what he stands for. But you watch the vote, how it comes out. And I don't know what's wrong with the Democratic people in this country, why they can't see that their own party is taking this country down the toilet.
And just to remind our viewers, this is the first in a couple of votes. This is a procedural vote ahead of the vote on the rule for the balanced budget amendment. What that rule will allow is for 5.5 hours of debate on the balanced budget amendment. Most of that, or some of that, will be later today, and we expect them to finish up work on the amendment tomorrow in the House. Here is Las Cruces, New Mexico. On our Democrats line, it's Ryan. Welcome.
Hello, yes. I just want to say that as a Democrat, I believe that we do need a balanced budget. I had to balance my own budget, and I'm a college student. And I was in the military, and I was on a fixed income, and, whatever I'm making, I had to balance what I'm going to do, if I'm going to pay bills, if I'm going to go out and do whatnot. So I believe that Washington, D.C. really needs a balanced budget. The only thing that I'm afraid of is when this gets to the Senate with all their filibuster rules and all their rules that they have in the Senate, that they could really postpone the vote. And I don't know. I just hope that we could pass a balanced budget, and all the 49 states have it, I believe, except for Vermont. And I don't know why Vermont doesn't have a balanced budget. But nevertheless, 49 states of the union have a balanced budget. We need one. I strongly support it. And thanks for taking my call.
And we will see a vote in the Senate. Again, this was mandated by the debt agreement signed back in August. Let's hear from Indianapolis. Willie is on our Independence line.
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's I'm against it. I mean, it's okay for you to do your house and your state like that, but not a country, especially one that plays policeman to the world, supposedly. And not only that, just in the last couple of months, you had just natural disasters that they had to argue and stuff about the money for. This whole thing is political in nature, but not the way people seem to think. You've had in 10 the so-called so-called Tea Party that were hijacked by Mr. Koch and his groups, they come in and not one job bill. All this other stuff trying to take women's rights away, trying to take my vote away. I'm 63 years old, Vietnam vet. I have one piece of ID, not military, just one piece of ID.
Willie, thanks for sharing your opinion. Let's go to Detroit. Jake is on our Democrats line. What do you think? Do you support a balanced budget agreement or not?
No, because the United States is not like my household. It's not like the state. It's an excuse to get around doing your job. The Republicans need to come and negotiate in good faith instead of their way or the highway. If they do that, then we can balance the budget. But you can't have it your way in a democracy, you know, and that's what the Republicans want.
Jake, your own city has had to make some tough budgetary choices. Your mayor, Dave Bing, speaking on television last night to the city. What can you relate to from your city that would be a national lesson on budget issues?
Well, I mean, I still say the city and the country is two different places. The choices that Mayor Bing have to make to stay within the budget, it's a lot of corruption in Detroit, in a lot of cities, but Detroit has a lot of corruption, and until they clean out all the corruption, that's where the problem is at balancing the budget, and just have some good, honest people doing the budget.
Thanks for your call. Let's go to Albany, Georgia next up, and Jan is on our Republican line. Hi.
Hi, this is Jan, and I would just like to say we need a balanced budget amendment because our Congress cannot do what they need to do without one. People are going crazy. The Democrats just want to spend, spend, spend. I am considered poor as far as the race with money, and I do not want anybody's money. I want our balanced budget done, and we need to take care of what we've got and use what we've got because I have kids and grandchildren, and I don't want anything that I've done or other people have done left for them to pay for.
If you are still on the line, hang on. We're going to get to your calls. We wanted to play some comments from David Dreyer of California. He is one Republican who on the House floor just a short while ago announced that he is against the balanced budget, and we'll let you see him explain why he's opposing the bill.
This is a very, very important debate. It's a debate that we haven't had since January of 1995, which is the last time that the House of Representatives had a vote on the issue of a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Back in 1995, when we had just won our majority, Mr. Speaker, I was one of the enthusiastic supporters, one of the two-thirds of the House of Representatives who voted in favor of the constitutional amendment requiring a balanced budget. I felt very strongly at the time that as we looked at the fiscal challenges that we as a nation face, that the only thing that we could do to achieve a balanced budget would be to have an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would call for that. Well, Mr. Speaker, I have changed my mind. I've changed my mind, and I will be voting against the constitutional amendment calling for a balanced budget. Now, this is not something that I've done lightly. My friend from Spring Hill is absolutely right when he said that the imperative of looking at the tough challenge of amending the Constitution is something that needs to be addressed. But I'll say that I agree with a number of the arguments that were put forward by my friend from Fort Lauderdale and a lot of the arguments put forward by my friend from Spring Hill. At the end of the day, I've concluded that we should not amend the U.S. Constitution calling for a balanced budget. I said I've changed my mind, and I'm reminded of a statement that was made by our former colleague, the mentor of our friend Jeb Hensarling, who's working tirelessly to ensure that we get our fiscal house in order with the work of the Joint Select Committee. And his mentor was Phil Gramm, a Democrat, then a Republican, served in the House and the Senate. And Phil Gramm once said that ours is one job where you can never admit to having learned anything. Ours is one job where you can never admit to having learned anything. Well, Mr. Speaker, I believe that I've learned something, and I'd like to take just a few minutes to explain why it is that I've come to the conclusion that I had. I said at the outset that I believed in 1995, when I cast that vote, January of 1995, in favor of the balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, that it was the only way that we would be able to achieve a balanced budget. I was wrong. 2 short years later, we balanced the federal budget. We balanced the federal budget, and that went on for several years. It went on until 2001, and my friend was talking about the fact that we had 2 wars. We've got to remember that it took literally billions and billions of dollars to deal with national security issues, like establishing the Department of Homeland Security and many other things that were very, very costly. But what I found, Mr. Speaker, is that we were able to balance the federal budget without touching that inspired document, the U.S. Constitution.
David Dreyer from the House floor earlier. This is the previous question vote. The vote on the rule for the balanced budget amendment will be next, and that will provide for 5.5 hours of debate. Much of what will happen will be later this afternoon. We're taking your calls, and we'll do so for a bit more on whether you support a balanced budget amendment. Let's go to Michael in Hickory, North Carolina, who's been waiting. Thanks for hanging in there.
Hi, I'm from Hickory, and a lot of people around here are Republican. A lot of people around here are really hurting economically. Jobs are not plentiful. Manufacturing's down the hill. And you look up on television, you see people, you know, out in the streets wondering what the government's doing. You look on television, and they're straight down the party lines. And you wonder what's actually going to happen here. And that's my question. What is going to happen here? How are they actually going to change anything if they can't come to terms with each other's differences?
Let's hear from Patsy in San Antonio, Texas, on our Democrats line. Hi.
Hi.
Do you support the balanced budget amendment or not?
Well, I just think, yes, we need a budget. But first, I think we need to put all these Republicans and Democrats out, because they are not doing what we are paying them to do. They just talk and talk and talk. For quite a long time, I have been looking at them. And they're not doing nothing except just talking, waiting and talking and waiting. They look like a hand-packed people. That's all they're doing. So please let them, or tell them, that they have to get going, because we can't be waiting out here.
The final vote on the balanced budget amendment is likely to happen tomorrow. The last time the House voted on a balanced budget amendment, 1995, it passed. It was approved, 300 voting for it, including now Democratic whip Steny Hoyer. It failed in the Senate, fell just a couple of votes shy, and thus did not make its way through Congress. Let's hear from Fred in Denville, New Jersey, who's on our Independence line. Thanks for waiting.
Hi, this is Fred. I'm for a balanced budget, definitely. However, I think the Republican proposal to exclude all costs of war is a farce.
Dimitri in Superior, Wisconsin, is on our Democrats line. Do you support this balanced budget amendment?
No, I think we should vote no on the previous question. I don't think we should make a constitutional amendment to balance a budget. I think Congress can do that on their own. I think we should get to more pressing issues like the currency manipulation in China that's causing Americans to lose jobs every year, and it's been going on for a long time. I sit back and I hear Republicans on the line blaming Democrats. I think this problem was created by Democrats and Republicans. I think it's a direct effect of the Bush administration getting checks when he wanted, using fear tactics to go into Iraq that cost us millions and millions of dollars and American lives, and his manipulation tactics. I think bailing out the financial district. I think it's all the result of the Republican and the Bush administration, and that's why we're in a situation. A long time ago, the automotive industry in America came to Congress for help and said they couldn't compete with the Japanese manufacturers because of steel prices.
Dimitri, I'm going to let you go there. Got a couple more calls waiting, but thanks for pointing out this previous question vote. Yes, indeed, the Democrats are asking their members to vote no so that they can bring forward the China currency bill, which has passed in the Senate. A couple more calls here. Jack in Henderson, Nevada, on a Republican line. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I think that one thing that everyone is really overlooking here is the fact that a strong tax base would encourage more revenue for the government, and the way to get a strong tax base is to have 100% of the people in the United States working. Thank you.
Here's San Jose, California, and also on our Republican line is Alan. Alan in San Jose. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm for this balanced budget amendment. You know, if we, it's apparent Congress doesn't stop spending. They're going to spend and spend and spend without a budget requirement. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, they don't have the discipline to understand that 2 and 2 is 4 like we do in our own households. And if we don't have a balanced budget amendment, broaden our tax base by giving the jobs out, reducing our regulations, increasing our jobs and our tax base, we're not going to get a balanced budget.
Next up is Gloria in Annapolis on our Democrats line. Hi.
Hi, I think it's a foolish waste of time. How can you balance the budget? Well, look at the states. They've had balanced budget requirements, and we're all in the same boat. You can't balance a budget when you don't know what your income's going to be.
And one more phone call here from Chicago. Pete's on our Independence line.
Hi.
Hey there, Pete. Make sure you mute your television and then go ahead with your comments.
Okay, just a second. I'm on crutches here. I have to get to the.
Be careful. We don't want you. We don't want you to hurt yourself muting the set.
Oh no. Okay. Mute your television. Okay.
Petey, is
right.
Good.
Okay.
Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay. I believe that those who do not learn the lessons from history are doomed to repeat it. And apparently Congressman Dreyer has learned learned the lesson of history. He's a Republican and is not going to vote for the balanced budget amendment when he did so in 1995. 2 years later, the budget was balanced by the Congress, and President Clinton did leave President Bush a surplus.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for all the calls. This vote is wrapping up. 2 more votes ahead. The vote on the rule for the balanced budget and also the vote on continuing spending for fiscal year 2012. On this vote, the yeas are 243, the nays are 173. Motion is agreed to. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
On that, I ask for the yeas and nays.
Gentleman from California.
Mr. Speaker, on that, I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and the nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and the nays will rise. A sufficient number having arisen. The yeas and the nays are orders. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
And this is the vote on the rule for the balanced budget amendment. It's being brought up under suspension of the rules, and this would authorize the amendment being brought up under suspension. A little bit different. This rule will allow 5 hours of debate, and we expect a good bit of that to be later this afternoon. This is a 5-minute vote. One more 5-minute vote will follow this, and that is the rule for continued federal spending for fiscal year 2012.
On this vote, the yeas are 240.
Mr. Kaufman of Colorado. Mr. Kaufman of Colorado votes aye. Mr. Austria. Mr. Austria votes aye.
On this vote, the yeas are 248, the nays are 169. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The unfinished business is the vote on adoption of House Resolution 467, on which the yeas and the nays were ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Calendar Number 92, House Resolution 467, resolution providing for consideration of the conference report to accompany the bill H.R. 2112, making appropriations for agriculture, rural development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies' programs for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2012, and for other purposes.
The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
The House approves the rule for the balanced budget amendment. That means they will get 5 hours of general debate on that amendment, and we expect some of that this afternoon and the House to finish work on the balanced budget amendment on Friday. This is a vote on the rule for the so-called minibus spending bill and the continuing resolution. And we are joined by John Shaw of Market News International. This first group of spending bills to fund the federal government in fiscal 2012 comes up for a final vote today on the House floor. How's that vote expected to go?
Well, I think it's likely to pass. There's been so much chaos and confusion around fiscal policy this year. They're running very late on the appropriations process. The new fiscal year began 6 weeks ago on October 1st. It feels like there's finally some positive momentum, and this passage of this mini spending bill, the 3 spending bills put into one package, would represent maybe the first real tangible accomplishment. So I think both sides have some incentive to make sure this passes. I think the failure of this spending bill, which, as you mentioned, also includes a stopgap spending bill funding the government, would be pretty disastrous. So I think the leadership will make sure that it does pass.
And why do they have to include that stopgap in this?
Well, the current stopgap spending bill expires tomorrow, and it's needed because Congress has passed none of the 12 regular spending bills for the 2012 fiscal year, so they've been running on stopgap bills. The House Majority Leader Eric Cantor said earlier this week that he hopes the one that they will pass today that will extend until December 16th is the last one, and they can just get the 9 final spending bills done.
Well, there was supposed to be also a second package of spending bills. The Senate had started some work on that, but those plans have faltered. What's going on there?
Well, yeah, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, thinking that there was a little bit of positive movement with the earlier package of 3, tried to put together another package of 3 and move it through the Senate this week. There was all sorts of objections to various components of the bills, so his attempt to move that package has basically failed. He set that bill aside. The Senate's working on the defense authorization bill, and I think that was sort of a tantamount way, or that was an indirect way of conceding that the final burst to get these spending bills finished, the final 9 bills, are probably all going to have to be put into one big omnibus package.
Any particular group of lawmakers that you're watching as the vote comes up this afternoon? Any fireworks expected?
Well, I don't know fireworks, but the conservatives are uncomfortable because this package emanates from an earlier budget agreement between the White House and congressional leaders, and conservatives believe that it contains too much spending. They think the broad package allowed for too much spending, and they see this as sort of a manifestation of that earlier agreement. So there'll be some reticence on the part of the conservatives to vote for it, but as I say earlier, I think the leadership really needs to have this bill pass and start getting a few accomplishments racked up.
Well, assuming House passage this afternoon, when's the Senate expected to take it up, and what's it look like over there?
Well, the Senate Majority Leader said earlier today that he expected the House to approve this bill late tonight, and he said that he'd like the Senate to do it, if possible, tonight, but he thought more likely Friday. I suspect there might be a little bit of toing and froing and some debate, but I think there is a broad desire to get this bill passed. And plus, the stopgap funding bill expires Friday night, so I believe that they really will find a way to pass it in the Senate tomorrow.
John Shaw, Market News International, covering the spending debate in Congress. We thank you for that update.
Thank you.
And again, the House is voting on the rule for that spending package, the minibus with the 3 spending bills and the continuing resolution to keep the government funded through the middle of December. This is the last vote in this series, and we expect debate next on the minibus and continuing resolution. On this vote, the yeas are 262, the nays are 156. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Members, please clear the well. For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include tabular and extraneous material on the conference report to accompany H.R. 2112.
Without objection. Members, please take their conversations off the floor. For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 467, agreed to earlier today, I call up the conference report to accompany the bill H.R. 2112, a bill making appropriations for the Departments of Agriculture, Commerce, Justice, Transportation, and Housing and Urban Development, and related programs for the fiscal year ending September.
Could we have order? Gentleman's correct. The House will be in order. Gentleman from Kentucky may proceed.
Related programs for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2012, and for other purposes, and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 2112, an act making appropriations for agriculture, rural development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies' programs for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2012, and for other purposes.
Pursuant to House Resolution 467, the conference report is considered read. The gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Rogers, and the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Dix, each will control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself 5 minutes.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to present the conference report on H.R. 2012, the fiscal year 2012, Consolidated and Further Continuing Appropriations Act. The House passed H.R. 2012, the bill making appropriations for the Departments of Agriculture, Rural Development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies on June 16th. The bill has since been amended to include the Commerce, Justice, Science, and the Transportation HUD appropriations bills, as well as a continuing resolution to keep the rest of the government operating until December 16th. With the help of our ranking member, Norm Dix, we successfully negotiated with our Senate counterparts to craft this agreement, which is the first appropriations conference report to hit this floor since 2009. This report is the next step in meeting the spending targets set by the Budget Control Act, which will save the taxpayers billions and help continue the effort to bring the nation's deficit under control. In fact, this bill keeps us on track to cut regular discretionary spending by $98 billion compared to the President's fiscal year request, and some $47 billion below the fiscal 2010 level. When all appropriations work this year is completed, it will be the second year in a row that we've reduced total discretionary spending, a remarkable and historic achievement. Yet, while we made significant cuts, we were also able to fund important priorities, such as food and drug safety, federal law enforcement, agricultural and scientific research, trade, infrastructure, and economic growth. Additionally, we're helping communities, states, businesses, and families deeply affected by a record-breaking year of destructive natural disasters and catastrophes. We've scrubbed the information from the agencies. We're able to reduce the disaster spending in this bill by $850 million compared to the Senate-passed bill. These funds are only for disaster assistance and do not grow the baseline budgets or the scope of the federal agencies. This bill, Mr. Speaker, is the next step in breaking the status quo of excessive federal spending that's throwing our budgets out of whack. Our House conferees thoroughly examined each and every program and agency to ensure that we are reducing spending wherever possible. In this bill, this includes terminating wasteful, poorly planned, and controversial programs such as high-speed rail, NOAA's Climate Change Office, and the Livable Communities program. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we terminated 20 programs for a savings of $456 million. This legislation also reins in executive branch overreach by including several important policy items. These provisions kill job-killing regulations that create economic uncertainty and limit government involvement in issues of life and liberty, including several provisions protecting human life and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Finally, this legislation includes a continuing resolution that will keep the remainder of the government operating until December 16th, allowing us an appropriate amount of time, I think, to finish negotiations on the remaining 9 appropriations bills so that we will have 012 out of the way, leaving the Appropriations Committee clear sailing in January to bring to the floor of the House 12 separate appropriations bills. I'm very pleased that we were able to reach agreement on this bill. It's become all too a rare thing in this Congress to come to an agreement such as this. And I'm proud to say that this conference report was approved by all but one of the 38 House and Senate conferees from both parties, which all goes to show us we work best when we work together. While there are no doubt items where members might disagree in the bill, there are many achievements in this bill of which we can be justly proud. However, we could not have done this without the tremendous help from our ranking member, Norm Dix, as well as the dedicated conferees on both sides of the aisle from both chambers, Chairman Wolf, Chairman Kingston, Chairman Latham, ranking members Farr, Fatah, and Oliver, as well as our dedicated staff, have worked tirelessly over the last few weeks to bring this bill to completion, and they have all of our sincere thanks and appreciation for a job well done. I yield myself 1 minute.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
I'm proud, Mr. Speaker, that your Appropriations Committee is presenting to you the first Appropriations Conference report since 2009 and the first conference report of this Congress. Your Appropriations Committee is working. In closing, I strongly urge my colleagues to support this bill. It's vital we pass this bill to prevent a government shutdown, rein in overzealous regulations, and help put our budgets and our economy on track. Reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Washington is recognized. Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the Appropriations Committee appropriation bill we will consider today includes within it 3 bills: Agriculture, Commerce, Justice, Science, and Transportation HUD, along with a clean continuing resolution covering the remaining 9 bills. The CR prevents a government shutdown. It is a simple date change to December 16th. No anomalies are added. Everything but the date is carried forward from the last CR. The agreement provides disaster relief of $2.3 billion, including the full amount needed to address the backlog of eligible disaster repairs for highways, roads, and bridges, and funds to address agricultural disasters. The conference report also drops controversial riders on Dodd-Frank financial reform, women's health, and climate change. The minibus restores funding that was cut in the initial House bill to nutrition and food safety programs. The conference agreements provide $6.6 billion for the Women and Infant Care Program, WIC, and an increase of 570 over the level and 36 above the Senate. At this level, WIC can provide for the estimated 700,000 women, children, and infants that would have been turned away under the previous bill. The impact of food prices will still need to be monitored to ensure the program has sufficient funding. The conference report provides $177 million for the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, which provides food assistance to particularly vulnerable low-income elderly as well as mothers and young children. At this level, the program will avoid dropping the 100,000 applicants as would have been required in the House bill. The conference agreement restores funding to FDA, $334 million into the House-passed bill to allow implementation of food safety modernization, and provides $1 billion for the Food Safety and Inspection Service, $32 million over the House level, to maintain the current workforce of meat inspectors. The agreement restores funding for the COPS program that was zeroed out in the House reported bill. COPS grants enable state and local law enforcement agencies to hire and retain police officers, provide equipment to tribal law enforcement agencies, and provide training on community-oriented policing. The agreement restores much-needed funding for science and innovation. The conference agreement provides $7 billion for the National Science Foundation, an increase of $173 million above the FY11 level in the House reported bill. While we need to be investing much more in basic research at NSF, the additional funding in the conference agreement is an important step in the right direction. The conference agreement provides $924 million for the NOAA Joint Polar Satellite System. While still below the request, the conference level will go farther than either the House or Senate levels in helping to minimize the anticipated satellite data gaps. The agreement provides funding for NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, which the House had zeroed out. The new telescope will be 100 times more powerful than the Hubble Space Telescope, allowing us to see images of the first glows after the Big Bang, and greatly enhancing our scientific understanding of the universe. Finally, the minibus stores funding for transportation and housing programs. The minibus includes $12 billion more for the House subcommittee bill for the federal aid to highway program, consistent with the annual funding levels assumed in the Surface Transportation Extension Act. The bill includes $10.5 billion for transit programs and $2.5 billion more than the earlier bill. The agreement also includes $1.4 billion for Amtrak capital and operating grants and deletes onerous language from the House subcommittee passed bill, which would have eliminated service on 26 short-distance routes, affecting 15 states and more than 9 million passengers. The bill includes funding for the Tiger Grant program, which will help advance national and regional transportation projects that will benefit both passenger and freight mobility, as well as create jobs. This bill will create a lot of jobs. The conference agreement provides $45 million in funding for housing counseling assistance. This program provides grant funds to local nonprofit agencies for reverse mortgage, rental, home pre-purchase, and foreclosure prevention counseling. This program had been eliminated in 2011. The Choice Neighborhood Initiative is funded at $120 million in the conference agreement. Choice is a grant program to revitalize public housing and blighted private housing in mixed-income neighborhoods. This program provides quality, low-income housing while the vast majority of the funds create needed construction jobs. The House subcommittee bill proposed eliminating the program. The Interagency Council on Homelessness is funded at $3.3 million in the conference agreement. The agency was also eliminated in the House subcommittee bill. The Council enhances the federal response to homelessness by coordination between agencies addressing duplicative programs and identifying best practices. The conference agreement provides $75 million for the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing Program, equal to the President's budget request. VASH provides long-term housing to homeless veterans. This is an increase of $25 million over the FY11 level. So I'm not happy with every single element of this, but I haven't seen a bill around here yet that is perfect. But I also want to say that we did get a good compromise on the Legal Services Corporation. I wish we could do more because there certainly is a justice gap in this country. But I want to commend the chairman and his staff, both the majority staff and the minority staff, who I think worked very well together with the other body in reaching resolutions in a very timely way on these three bills. And I want to commend the chairman for bringing 6 bills. Now, I could make the case that we actually did 18 bills because we had 12 bills in the 11 omnibus, H.R. 1, that took us a whole week, if you remember, to go through 12 separate bills. So 12 and 6 is 18. That's a pretty good day for the Appropriations Committee. And I yield to the chairman.
The fiscal year 11 omnibus bill, as you recollect, we had some 500 amendments. That
everybody got a shot.
Everybody.
Well, I do that, and I want to commend the chairman for his commitment to regular order and openness, and I hope that next year we can really do all 12 bills If we can get done this year in December, then we can focus on the 12 bills for next year and hopefully bring them all to the floor so that members have a chance to vote. It's important, I think, and I think the fact that so many people wanted to offer an amendment indicates that the membership of the House wants to see an open process, and it's certainly important for the minority, too, to have an opportunity to offer amendments. So I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to the chairman of the Commerce, Justice, Science Subcommittee, very hard-working chairman, who also happens to be a colleague of mine in the class of 1980, the so-called Reaganauts. Chairman Frank Wolf.
Gentleman's recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise today in support of this conference report, which includes fiscal year 2012 Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies Appropriation Act. I want to thank my colleague and ranking member, Mr. Fattah, for his support throughout the process. I also want to thank Senate counterparts, Senators Mikulski and Hutchinson, and I also want to particularly thank Chairman Rogers of the full committee and ranking member, Mr. Dix. This was a very, very open process. I also want to thank the CGS subcommittee staff, including Mike Ringler, Leslie Albright, Stephanie Myers, Diana Simpson, Colin Samples, Scott Samus, as well as Tom Culligan at my office, and Derek Newby and Bob Boner of the minority staff. Working together, we were able to produce a conference report that reduces discretionary spending in line with the Budget Control Act, while the Super Committee works to control entitlement spending, which is the primary driver of our unsustainable debt, and reform the tax code. The final CGS bill before the House is $583 million below fiscal year 2011 and $4.9 billion, 8.5% below the President's request. Since Republicans assumed the majority, we have reduced spending by more than $11 billion for agency funded in the CJS appropriations bill. At the same time, the bill also provides funding for a variety of critical national priorities. The conference report fully funds the FBI at $8.1 billion to protect the nation from further terrorist attacks. The bill includes important increases for FBI national security programs and the investigation of cyber intrusions. The bill also makes important progress in the fight against the horrible and pervasive crime of human trafficking. Human trafficking is spreading through this nation, and this funding bill will also support state and local human trafficking task forces activities and victim assistance services. The conference agreement will require each U.S. attorney to establish a human trafficking task force. In the Department of Commerce, the conference agreement includes new initiatives to bring jobs back to America, including a job repatriation task force and a new grant program to enable U.S. companies to bring offshore activities back to economically distressed regions of this nation. It is time for these American companies who have gone to China and Mexico to return home, particularly, let me say, GE, who just moved their health care facilities from Wisconsin to Beijing, should come back to Wisconsin. The bill also includes important increases for fundamental scientific research. $7 billion is included for the NSF, an increase of $173 million. NIST research activities receive an increase of over 10%. Math, science, physics, chemistry, biology, doing the things that make a difference to create jobs. Research is a primary driver of innovation, growth, and job creation. These investments must be preserved even in times of budgetary austerity. The conference agreement includes $17.8 billion for NASA, including funding above the request for America's next generation space exploration system and for cutting-edge technology. And in closing, as other countries are challenging U.S. leadership in space, this conference report includes funding for a comprehensive, independent assessment of NASA's strategic direction and agency management to chart a future course that is bold and achievable. I urge support for the bill and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Washington.